The ingredients you will need for this recipe are kale leaves, specifically curly kale. You will also need 1/4 teaspoon of salt or less, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, a napkin or two, a knife, a cutting board, parchment paper, and a baking sheet. First, we need to wash our hands and our vegetables. Make sure you're washing your hands for at least 20 seconds. Before cutting, we need to dry the kale super well. Getting rid of the moisture is key to getting crispy chips. Carefully with your knife, cut along the stem of the leaf. Make sure your leaf is flat on the cutting board. Cutting along the stem will allow us to make smaller pieces necessary for kale chips. After that, begin to chop your leaf into small pieces. Using the bear claw method, keep your fingers away from the knife. Cut your pieces into small pieces as it will look like a chip. Cover your baking sheet with the parchment paper. A tip is to use a bit of butter at the bottom to keep it from sliding around. Now we will spread small pieces of kale as much as possible. The goal is to have crispy chips, so make sure that you make space on the baking sheet. If you have a lot of pieces, I recommend making a second batch to share with your friends. Now after you have spread it all over your baking sheet, you're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You may use less salt if you like, just don't oversalt as kale chips become smaller in the oven and your kale chips will be very salty. You may also use peppers, curry, chili powder, nutritional yeast, or parmesan to add more flavor to your kale chips. Next, we'll measure out 1 tablespoon of olive oil. This is enough for 1 baking sheet to get crispy chips. Next, we'll put oil on your hands, not on the greens. This will help with spreading the oil evenly. Make sure every piece is covered in oil. While you continue to cover all your kale pieces in oil, preheat your oven to 350 Fahrenheit. Carefully place the pan in the oven and heat for 10 minutes. With an oven mitt, carefully take out the baking sheet and set aside to cool. And here are our kale chips. Thank you for joining us and enjoy!